Hello, all you hardcores out there. How are you doing? It's Porky here from Porky's Corner, the voice of hardcore boxing. First of all, I want to apologise if any videos have gone out this week that we've been talking about stuff from 2 or 3 days ago. So first of all, I do apologise for that. All right. Today I'm joined by somebody who's a big Wolves fan. He's come all the way up from Wolves, although he's been in the area today. He's popped to see me. We're joined by the one and only pound for pound voice of hardcore boxing and pay-per-view, Dale Nichols. Look who it is here. And he's tracky that his mother-in-law got him. How are you doing, kid? Come on, you all right, mate?
Yeah.
Can we get you a better chair? That's a bit crap.
We get the main chair.
You want to get in that one? Great, we've jotted a few things down. And don't break that there because it's used to 10.5 stone sat in it now. Right, the MTK news latest and all that. I think that's your cover, isn't it? The MTK news. What do you think about it, Dale?
It comes as no surprise, has it really, that they're sort of been ousted and everyone connected to them just crawled back into the box. It's pretty sharpish as well. But yeah, it's come thick and fast, hasn't it? I mean, the developments, it was one day we've got sanctions on Kinahan from America, and then the next day we've got Coogan having his passports up, I think. So
yeah, I wonder if Coogan will be able to go to Florida with his kids when he's old and I can't go in mine.
no, it's not looking likely, is it really? You know, he's had to send Umar out there a couple of times, and I think Umar went out to the Cape Town part of New York, didn't he? So,
I think Umar's brains at operation now, isn't he? He's like the brains, isn't he?
I think so. I mean, he gets a bit of stick to the questions that he asks and stuff, but he does a good job in comparison to Coogan. I think he does sort of try to push a little bit, but he still toes the line. But he's probably the best of a bad bunch, is what I'd say.
Yeah. Are you surprised by the silence, Dale, from a lot of people now? Because they all came out at first saying plenty, didn't they?
Yeah, well, you've got obviously Dirty Derry. Yeah, he was one of the cheerleaders. Rapping.
Sonny Edwards.
Yeah, and
Billy Joe.
Scam Jones as well.
Malcolm X, Billy Joe.
Yeah.
Scam Jones.
And they've all been deleting tweets and, you know, or gone into hiding that.
Do you think there'll be some paper trails led to a few people in the next couple of years when it all comes out in what?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think at the top of the shop we're going to be looking at Mr. Tyson Fury as well.
We'll
pictures with Kinahan, you know, and every time questions were posed to him, it was, I'm not answering any of these questions. You know, the media, all the questions were vetted before the white fight, weren't they? By the media, very carefully picked out.
Will Fury be able to fly to America, do you think?
But I think this is one of the, you know, we're all talking about Fury choosing to retire. I think Fury will retire. I think it'll be almost by default. I think there's a few reasons why. I think one of them will probably be he's going to scamper away because of his involvement with MTK over the past few years. The fact that he may not be able to go to America, so it needs brushing under the carpet. But also, I think that the way that the Joshua Usyk side was dragging on, you know, you've got to look at the fact that I think the only realistic fight that Fury's going to come back for is going to be an undisputed fight. It's more lucrative if it's against Joshua. It's an easier sell. You know, he'd probably prefer that fight. It's an easier fight for him. You know, the Usyk fight, it's not a global phenomenon of a fight, is it? It's not, you know, you'd probably even say Crawford Spence is a bigger fight than Fury Usyk, but Fury Joshua for all the heavyweight belts, if Joshua comes back and wins, he's the biggest fight in boxing bar now.
Yeah, but didn't Usyk beat him convincingly?
Yeah, but I think if Joshua comes back and knocks Usyk out, you almost forget the first fight then, didn't you?
That's all he's got to do. It can't be a dodgy decision, this, can it?
No. So I think you've got to look at the fact that they're likely not to fight now until probably August, pushing maybe even September. the recovery time then after that fight, you're looking at least 6-7 months, because they're not going to be fighting in December with a World Cup on. And then January's always a tough sell. February, I know Fury Wilder fought in February before, didn't they? But you know, normally you'd probably be aiming more towards May. That's another 12 months on the shelf for Tyson Fury. I cannot see him going into an undisputed fight with 12 months on, you know, gathering dust, putting the weight back on. I do think this is it for Fury. I think it's curtains. I think that he don't want no part of an Usyk fight. I really don't think he would.
Fury done. Tyson Fury.
Yeah. I think he can go out there very much like Froch did. Wembley, big knockout in a big domestic fight, and that's it done. You know, nothing left realistically to prove.
Best to be
to the
here in
majority.
Tyson, isn't it?
I think you'd be harsh to say no. Like,
Usyk and Joshua left, didn't they, for him, really, isn't they?
The winner
From
of,
his era.
you know, if Usyk was to beat Joshua again, which I think he will, I think he'll stop him this time. You'd say Joshua with 2 convincing losses to Usyk and, you know, a loss to Ruiz. So he's won one of his last 4 fights, would that have been?
Yeah.
You'd look there and you'd think only Usyk would have been a viable challenger to him. If he'd have beat Usyk, he wouldn't have needed to beat Joshua to call himself the best of the era. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But again, I think you'd say at the moment, yeah, Fury is the best of the era. But it's not cut and dry, because he will have that asterisk against him that he hasn't beat the winner of that fight. But I don't think it'll happen personally. I think Fury's done that. I do think he's done. But like I say, by default, and it won't be through choice. If he's going to retire by choice, why not just pin the belt now? Why keep holding on to it?
Do you think Fury? He's not really bothered about this undisputed, I think, because he's won every belt now. And he's recognised as best in England.
Like I say, I think he would be if Joshua wins against Usyk.
Yeah, but if he loses,
such a big fight in it. But I think if Usyk wins, which I think he will, I don't think Fury will be that bothered. He'll say I've won every belt and I've never lost any belts with him. Anyway.
Yeah. Do you think that Eddie's going to be in a bit of a tight spot if Joshua loses against us? Because he's really hard to pitch with heavyweight scene, isn't he?
I think he is, but you look at the top of the game and you think he'd only need one more win to sort of get back in there. But Usyk will probably then dominate. So you sort of try and plot a route for Joshua and think if Usyk's still hanging on to all the belts, or at least, you know, 3 of the 4 belts.
Yeah.
And Joshua's already been beat twice by Usyk. What's he actually aiming for? Because it'd be such a tough sell for him to go back in there, say beat a White, and then go back in with Usyk again. How are you going to sell a 3rd fight when he's already been beat twice? You know, the route back for Joshua, if he loses in a convincing fashion again, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
White, isn't it? And if he loses that, he's done, isn't he?
Yeah.
But Derek Chisora's lost 12 times. They keep wheeling him out, don't they? I mean, what do you think to his situation at the moment?
There's just no interest in that Pulev fight. Is that like
anyone who's 40 odd in it, Pulev?
41, and then I think anyone who buys a ticket or even tunes in, you're just encouraging. What should be curtains. He should have retired years ago. I get that he's earning money, and every fighter's got a right to earn money. But what it actually shows is we can slate this fight all we want, but in terms of profile, if you look at the UK boxing schedule for the rest of the year, this is actually probably the biggest fight that we've actually got scheduled in. There ain't nothing else that springs out to me that's actually, in terms of profile, a big fight on that, which is poor, really. Very, very poor. There's many fights out there that should be happening that isn't happening. You know, for me, there's no reason why Fury shouldn't be looking to get back out in October to defend. There's no reason why Josh Taylor, who's staying at 140, shouldn't be rematching Jack Catchell.
No reason whatsoever, is there?
You know, Callum Smith, where's he gone? You know, unfortunate for Callum Johnson, he's lost out on his big fight, and obviously Joe Smith's fighting for Serbia now. But you know, there just seems to be no traction whatsoever in British boxing at the minute. For me, I'd much rather sit down and I thoroughly enjoyed the boxer card a few weeks ago. The one in Coventry. I thought it was brilliant. And I thought every fight was brilliant. And I forgot the guy's name that won now, but he's fighting again in the end of the month.
Do you feel, Dale, that it shouldn't be about belts, it should just be about people fighting somebody on their level? We don't need to see Joe Joyce coming in, knocking somebody like Max out, do we?
No,
Right.
we
We should see Joe Joyce in with somebody who was equivalent to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Somebody who's been at Olympics, who's turned pro. Or
Well, I was quite interested in him fighting Joseph Park. I don't know.
Joe
why.
Joyce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why that's fell down, but that to me is two B-level fighters.
Yeah.
That I know he's obviously not eligible for it, but that would be a European level fighter.
No, I meant Fraser Clark. Sorry, then.
Oh, right, okay.
Fraser Clark should be fighting somebody not like Max.
Yeah, well, for me, I liked how Joe Joyce, I know it stalled a little bit.
Joe Joyce, yeah.
He's sort of in the early part of his career, not necessarily fast tracked, but you know, he didn't piss around with 10 bin then, did he? You know.
Oh, Joe Joyce.
Yeah.
After a couple of fights, he was in with Steve on after a couple of fights.
Yeah, you know, he fought okay opposition. And that's what I'd like to see Fraser Clark do, you know, just step it up, just dive straight in at the level. He's good enough to win a British title now.
Oh, no, we're going to see the same matchmaking that they did with Dave Allen, where they just put him in, when he were putting the guys who really hard fights, Waters,
Well, he was just
White, Yoker, Price, all them kind of
I
fights.
mean, Dave Allen was just a journeyman with a bit of a following. So he was doing his job really. He was never going to win a British title. He was never going to win a, you know. I mean, look, they give him Leroy Thomas for a Commonwealth twice, and he couldn't get the job done. Joe Joyce got him out there in 4 minutes.
Is that all right? So
5 minutes, weren't it? You know, this is what we're talking about in terms of levels. Dave Allen, he's a journeyman, was a journeyman, but because he had a bit of a following, he sort of gave off an illusion that he was good enough to win a British title, but he weren't.
only 2 fights from fighting Big Meech.
But he should never have been in there with all teams. I mean, that was just.
Joshua should have fought him, shouldn't he? And it should have been Eric Molina in with Dave Allen.
Well, did he have a stinker with Malik Scott in Monaco? Was it Malik
Oh,
Scott?
yeah, also did, yeah.
Eddie had him for 2 fights, didn't he? With Malik Scott in Monaco, stumped the place out. And then he fought Dave Allen on was it Joshua Molina undercard? Was it in Manchester? Which was only about 10 weeks later, wasn't it?
Yeah.
9-10 weeks later.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, then you have Allen coming back and he fought Big Daddy Brown on Sky, didn't he? Top of the bill. And
Knocked him out, Big Daddy Brown, put him into orbit.
2 or 3 rounds to the body. And yeah, that's obviously going to be his signature win, but I don't want to see Dave Allen back in a ring. I don't want to see Chisora back in a ring.
They're calling somebody out today, isn't he, Dave?
Who's called then?
I don't know, I've got it on the phone. Have a look, I think I've got it here. Hold on a minute.
But whilst we're on the heavyweights, obviously we've got Dubois fighting for one of our classes of, you know, it's a nothing belt anyway, in it, but you've got the WBA regular that he's fighting for. I don't know how he's managed to sort of fight for that, but what I find funny about the WBA regular heavyweight title is that's almost dismissed, whereas in every other division, it actually does hold a little bit of weight. I mean, to me, I'd rather it just be gone altogether.
What belt's that?
The WBA regular, but no, but you know, you don't have Eddie Hearn coming out saying that Lee Wood's not a world champion, do you? But
No.
he won't call Dubois a world champion. Yet they'll hold the same belt. Because let's be honest, Dubois.
He never said that when Carl Froch.
Dubois going to win it, and let's be honest. You know, Froch, they classed it obviously unification. Didn't
IBF.
he had the IBF as well, but Kessler had the regular, didn't he? Because he beat Brian McGee for it, but Ward had the super title, didn't he? Eddie Hearn's dined out on the WBA regular title for years. He had Jamie McDonnell had it for years. You know, he's had his fight. You'll probably try and find a way for Conor Benn to get one. To get the WBA regular. He's trying to get the WBA regular because he's not going to be going in there against Spence or Crawford or Virgil Ortiz. He's going to be going in there against any of them. He said so he'll find a way to get Conor Benn a WBA regular and pass it off as a world title. And that's what he does. But for some reason, the WBA regular heavyweight title is almost sort of, it's treated differently to all the other regular belts. And I ain't saying, like, you know, I'm all for that, but like in terms of consistency, I think it'd be a bit unfair on Dubois from most promoters. Like Eddie and I'll shit on him, but you're saying Lee Wood's a world champion, but by that.
It's about money though, isn't it?
Dubois,
It's about money. Dubois in position. If he beats Trevor Bryan, he gets known as having a minor world title belt, WBA regular belt. But he's also then mandatory for WBA super, isn't it? Heavyweight, the super. Because of the super WBA, don't they?
yeah, in theory, it should be, but the WBA let the rules supposed to go along. You can't see Fish always putting in with Usyk, can you? Come on, it'll just milk.
Oh, you know what we all said? Dubois.
We don't put Dubois in with Usyk, will they? I mean, Dubois really still, he's still rebuilding.
He's feast on him, money, Usyk.
He's still rebuilding, really. So I don't know what the plan is really. I mean, it's a good move for Dubois in terms of he's going to get a belt and it should gain him a little bit of leverage in the division, but don't see what it's really going to do for him long term, because in terms of levels, it's absolutely miles off what is world level. It's miles off it. Like, you wouldn't back him against Joyce if they were fighting this weekend, would you? You wouldn't back him against Joe Joyce.
No.
Not the way that Joyce beat him last time, because although it was a fairly even fight in terms of the scorecards, it was a man against boy in there, wasn't it?
I thought you were a bit raw when he fought Joe Joyce. Bit naive. Might be a bit more experienced now in hindsight.
Potentially, but like I say, I would be backing if he was fighting Joyce anytime soon.
Okay. All right, then. Well, we spoke about the heavyweight division. Let's finish off on Dylan White. What do you think is going to happen to him now? Because he's saying today he's back, he wants another fight. He's in training, he's in camp.
Again, I'm sort of
Stronger, faster, quicker than a speeder, isn't it?
the usual. Yeah, I mean, what they're going to wheel out David A for it.
You know what? Somebody was talking to me over there. I told you, somebody said to me that David A and Dave Allen could be on agenda in the next 6 months. I said, David A and Dave Allen? Yeah, apparently David's still got something left and Dave Allen's still in mix. I said, oh, is it?
Well, still in the mix for what? I mean, I look at White and I think he was piss poor against Fury. Went in there with no game plan. I don't know what the people around him were working on. You know, they had 6-7 months for this fight, and there seemed to be absolutely no game plan whatsoever. Or was it he's just that poor? Or was Fury just taking the piss that much? He could have took him out early if he really wanted to. Where White goes from here, I don't know. I mean, in terms of his profile and his stock, it's, you know, it is quite hard because he's just been involved in a massive fight. So, you know, you'll have no problem topping a bill probably at the O2 and
Do you think he's finished?
decent amount of tickets.
Do you think he's finished White now?
I mean, he's earned plenty enough money for a bang average fighter, you know. But where does he go? I mean, he owes Wall in the fight, doesn't he? But again, that ain't going to get his due.
Do you think him and Chisora will fight again?
No. I think that book's closed, isn't he?
How many fights did they have then?
They're talking about a Parker rematch now, which wouldn't be a surprising move. I think I'd probably put that the most likely fight at the minute because it seems to have broken down between Parker and George Sterling. So for me, I think possibly a Parker rematch. But I don't see anybody else.
Yui's in a good fight, isn't he?
He ain't going to be fighting anyone like Hergovich or.
What do you think to Hunter Yui?
I think it's a good fight. I think it's winnable for Huey. I mean, it's into WBA eliminator. Is that for what will be Dubois' title, or is it for the Super?
I don't know, you know, I don't know how they're going to work it. It muddies all the rules and everything, that regular thing, doesn't it? It complicates everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't understand it. I mean, I don't understand it. I think I read the WBA rules some years ago now, and it was that the Super Champion, you got to become a Super Champion if you defended the regular belt 5 times. If you were the Super Champion, you had no mandatories. That was how it used to be.
Yeah.
So I think that's how Amir Khan fought for the WBA Super, weren't it? Because he defended, he won it. He won it against Kotelnik, yeah, and I think he defended it against Malinaji, Maidana. There was some of the other fighters he defended it against. I'm sure he defended it a few times, didn't he?
What do you think to Kell Brook retiring? Do you think it was about right now he retires?
Yeah, I'm pleased. I mean, he probably really didn't fulfil his potential. He shouldn't have gone in against Golovkin. I think everybody can say that. Pundits, trainers, fans, probably even himself will admit he shouldn't have gone in there against Golovkin because, you know, look how good Spence is, and Brook more than held his own in that fight for long periods. He wasn't outclassed, is what I'd say. Yes, you could see that Spence had that little bit more, but I think it was only because he was younger and fresher.
Yeah.
And he had that little bit more of a pop. And Brook was probably like that. Spence was like that, and they sort of met in the middle. And you know, I think if Brook hadn't have fought Golovkin and had his confidence, then he could have beaten Spence that night. He could have, which obviously would have been his biggest ever, his best ever win. But it's just a shame he never. You know, obviously, I know you've got Paul to win, but it's a shame he never had another night like that. I think because he had the skill set to have a night like
Kell
that.
Brook, yeah, I think it all got a bit spoiled when Eddie Hearn didn't want to lose his deposit on O2. And he called him in to save the day, didn't he? Plan B.
Yeah.
And I think he was downhill from there for Kell Brook. He was always trying to put fires out after that, wasn't he?
Yeah, but there was too many gaps, weren't there, as well? We see there's too many gaps. I mean, he wins the title and then he fights Jojo, Dan, Bizier, your Frankie Gavin. Who's to blame there? I don't know. Then he fights Golovkin. Then he fights Spence. And then he had years out the ring, comes up, said, "Oh, I'm best at 154," and he fought that Australian stripper in a stinker. It was very lackluster towards the end, and it fizzled out. And yes, we got the Khan fight. I'm glad that both called it a day.
7 years too late, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was. That would have been absolutely perfect when Brook could have won the title. It would have been great then.
Yeah. I think that Amir Khan will come back because he likes a pound now. What do you think?
Possibly, I think it won't be. It'll be in the capacity of every football he did. It'll be some sort of exhibition base, probably out in Pakistan, Middle East, sort of Dubai, like potentially. But I don't think he'll be headlining a card over in the UK or in America. I think if he does come back in the ring, it'll be like that.
What do you think to Jake Paul at the moment, sniffing around boxing? Do you think that he'll be a good thing for the future?
I mean, I've made my thoughts clear on the YouTube thing. Actually, I haven't got much problem with it because boxing has got so many more problems, bigger problems than a few YouTubers going in there who've got their own followings. You know, to coin a phrase by Eddie Hills, if you don't like it, don't buy it.
Yeah, I should say that.
If you don't like it, don't watch it.
When people complain about these videos, just say, don't like it, watch it.
Yeah, that's my stance on it.
I don't watch Songs of Praise on a Sunday, do you, on BBC One? Because I don't like it.
Exactly that, yeah. But for me, I think the only way these guys have got traction in the sport is because there is nothing happening at the top level. We're not getting the big fights. Boxing's an ungoverned sport through politics and drug cartels or whatever reason. Big fights just aren't happening. So these guys are actually getting a foothold in the sport we've only really got ourselves to blame, haven't we?
Yeah, they've
From
allowed them.
fans,
Terry says that,
promoters.
doesn't he? Terry says that all the time. We've allowed them to come in because boxing's not looking after itself, is it?
And it's spot on. And it's
Government
spot
have
on.
got it sussed out. When they've handed furloughs out, there was nothing for boxing, were there?
Nothing.
Everybody else got a furloughs, didn't they? But boxing didn't, which is bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
I haven't really got that much passion towards hating on it or anything like that.
hating on what?
Any of these YouTube fights, because I just want to
Oh,
because
well, no, they were paying them, weren't they? They all got paid off Jake Paul. They were giving them all good money. But it's only because
And let's be frank, I think he'd iron out.
Tommy Fury.
I think he'd lay him out.
You think?
I think so. Tommy Fury's awful. He's awful.
Yeah, but Tommy's Fury's. If he gets knocked out, he's going to get paid, isn't he, by Jake Paul, isn't he?
Look,
They get paid.
They didn't want the fight, did they? They didn't want the fight, and they still don't want the fight. Simple as that. Because it's a 50-50 fight, and Jake Paul is the big puncher.
Where do you see Johnny Fisher in 2 years from now, Dale?
The wrong for the ball.
Bosh.
Um,
Where do you see Johnny Fisher?
I mean, good for the lad. He seems a nice lad. He's earning a few quid out of the game because he's got a good following. He's got, he sells tickets. I'd like to see him win a British title, but I can't see it. I can't see it. But yeah, like I say, seems a good lad, but it is what it is. It's just
Does he win a British?
it's just a phase, isn't it? If matched correctly, possibly. I mean, let's see. I mean, we've seen the likes of Ian Lewis challenging for a vacant belt, haven't we?
White.
Against White, yeah. So if Eddie can work his magic and bring in, that caliber of opponent, then he'd be more than capable of winning one. But is he a British level fighter? No, not yet.
No.
And I think he did admit that himself.
Likes Chinese food.
Oh yeah.
Could end up with
He
could end up
himself,
with
man.
sponsors. Could end up with some big sponsors from China coming into the sport. Board would love that, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
What do you think's the answer to drug testing, Dale?
Um,
Do you think it should be the same ban for everybody, no matter how important you are in the sport or how far up the food chain?
question. Good question. It's very muddy waters, isn't it? Because there's always excuse after excuse and appeal after appeal, and there's too many. You've got UCAD, you've got VADA. There's two. There has to be that the board of control, if they are sanctioning a fight in this country, this is the drug. The drug company that we use. You have to go through UCAD. But they're saying that it's so expensive to fund, didn't they? So that only the creme de la creme fights there's testing involved with, because it's that expensive. So how many fighters out there are actually on it?
Well, like 5-0, 6-0, are they on it?
If you know full well you're not going to get caught, and that's going to gain you an advantage. There's probably upwards of 30 to 40%, if not more. If not more, answer somebody a lot wiser who's paid a lot more money than I am should be able to give you that answer, because I don't know the solution. We want a clean sport, but you look across every single sport, and you've got, for example, the champion jockey, the flat jockey, Shane Murphy in horse racing, banned for drug use. You've had, top centre back Rio Ferdinand banned for missing drug tests over the years. You've got, it's happened in all sports, hasn't it? Really. Obviously, you've had Canelo at the top of our sport, banned. Tyson Fury, backdated ban, although he's innocent, but accepted a backdated ban. Athletics, let's not even get into that. Cycling, Lance Armstrong, who's the pinnacle of the sport.
Baseball, Barry Bonds.
It's been going on for years, hasn't it? And unfortunately, I just don't think it's ever going to get run out of sport in general, and boxing being an government sport is just going to fall victim to it.
What's the answer then? Live bans.
But being an ungoverned sport, how are you going to sanction that?
And obviously just go through the lawyers and go to court of arbitration. The sport of arbitration.
The only way you do it is by getting the governing bodies together and all signing up on an agreement that any fighter that has ever failed a doping test, here is the criteria. We won't ever let them fight for our titles again. And you think for the top level guys, then without the achievement of a world title against their name, they're never going to be able to earn the money that is going to catapult them to the top of the sport.
Yeah.
So I think that is possibly the only way we're going to get this is if Mendoza and, you know, Cafe Duva, they all get together.
They sit them all down,
and they all sign up.
You're going to need
to
somebody
the
like.
set criteria
Yeah.
and say, look, we won't let anybody fight for our titles if they've ever failed. And I think that can be the answer.
It's not going to happen because you're going to have legal issues and all that, aren't you? How many promoters are going to go out and get my lawyer involved? You can't do this. And it's going to be one big drawn out load of old knackers. And meanwhile, the fans were the ones who robbed, aren't we?
All the time, yeah, all the time. We're always getting fleeced, but that's why we love this sport, Johnny.
This is why we love this sport so much, Johnny. Let's have a look what we've got on the agenda. Big John Fury, big fighting man, in the ring or on the hard road. Pop, pop, bang, end of bomb. He's on about having his teeth done. I've heard.
Can you get him any discounts?
John Fury, there's only one place to go, and that's Cosmetic Beach. I don't know, to be honest, but I can't see it. It's just somebody emailing me causing loads of knackers. What do you think about Dennis Hobson tweeting Natasha Jonas and asking her to jump over to Fight Zone? She said, you can't afford me and I've got to deal with Sky and Boxer.
Pretty embarrassing, really. Pretty
I'm
embarrassing.
ranking. So, Dennis, pick up the phone. We need to ask you about all these debutantes in the last 15 months that you've been putting on. Because if it's true that they're all from white collar, times that by how much it is to the medical, there's about 40 grand gone in fees to Boxing Board of Control.
Boxing Board of
No control. But what do you think is going to happen to Cash Ali then now that Richard Towers is on remand? Do you think he's going to go a new trainer or just Jack? Who do you see training him from Sheffield?
you could do, couldn't you?
I could do it easily, man. You know what I'd do? I'd just have him running all the time until he were fit. And because I think he's got a good skill set on him.
There's unlocked potential there as well, I would say.
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
There is
yeah.
unlocked potential there. I mean, how far that would take him, I don't know.
I'd like to see him with Dave Allen, the white wino.
The Battle of Doncaster.
Dave Allen, the white rhino, operation 22.17.
The
I'm
war-
back. I'm taking it serious.
Yeah, the War of Coningsborough.
Dave, take it serious and stop wasting your talent, mate. Okay. Billy Joe, you don't think he's going to come back there?
No,
Liam Cameron?
no,
I
I
don't
don't see it.
He's shouting me in there. Oh, you shouting? Big shout out Eastwood Autos. They've got loads of Mazdas in this week. Every time I pull up out there, there's a Mazda. There's a Mazda being jet washed. It's not bad Mazdas, are they?
No,
I don't mind the Mazda. You never been in a Mazda? You never lived.
girls' cars.
Old Dale Nichols turns up at mine today. The 19 plate on the top at range, and has got a brand new Focus on. You must be loaded, Dale. You're only a purchaser. Listen, we're having your logo on here, Dale. We'll get you on here. We'll take a cash payment off you every month. It's got to be ready these days. It took me squealers about.
Yeah, I've heard all the stories before we come on air.
Yeah.
Grasses, we know who you are.
Yeah, we know who you are. We know where you live. Josh Wales retired. Think he'll come back? He's busy, 33-year-old, he's got his gym and that.
So, yeah, I mean, I think he's obviously got more of a passion for training and fighting in these days.
He's
So
more level-headed than the.
good luck to him. You know, he's one of the good guys of the sport, and he's keen to give something back. So good luck to him.
They don't even charge for kids in the gym on a Friday, you know, in his gym, because nobody's got no. Well, what people haven't got much money spent, have they sending the kids to it?
Yeah, and he's not exactly a a massively profile fighter that's gone out and earned enough to sit on for the rest of his life. But he's, like I say, he's still keen to give something back, which fair play.
How's your new baby Dale? Right.
Oh yeah, she's doing all right. Yeah, she's sleeping through the night now. So that gives me a bit of rest.
You won't having any kids?
Oh, I said that, didn't I? I said that, and then all of a sudden she just pops up out of nowhere.
That's how it happens, mate.
Yeah.
Surprising.
Pops up out of
Just
nowhere.
pop up and give an invoice.
Yeah. One day you find out that she's pregnant, and then the next day you're thinking, oh, okay, I've got 7 months left. I thought it just flies by. Before you know it, they're in your arms and you're getting no sleep. So, but you know what? You wouldn't change it for the world, would you? You wouldn't.
We'll finish off on this then. The 175 division in the UK. What do you think to it there?
We all want to see Boatti step up, don't we? We want to see him step up, but Callum Johnson deserves more. He deserves more from everybody around him. That's no disrespect to trainers, promoters, or anyone who's ever been associated to him, but the guy does deserve more. Spider Richards, good fighter, but obviously he's been found at his level now. You know, he put up a decent show.
Is he a gatekeeper now?
I think you'd put him in that category, wouldn't you? Like lower European level. Boatti is just screaming out for a big fight now. We don't want to see him held back anymore now. Let's see how good he really is. Let's put him in there.
Has he got a right trainer? Boatti.
Well, I don't know what Virgil Hunter's ever done in the country.
Is that Ward, hasn't he? Who's
You
basically
could have trained Andre Ward.
gold medal Olympians are not hard to train, are they?
You could have trained Andre Ward. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I still think there's something in Anthony Yard that.
Yeah.
I still think there's something there. I'd love to see him fight Callum Johnson. I would love to see Yard against Callum
That'd be a
Johnson.
great fight, that
I
one.
really would. I think
That's
really good
pay-per-view,
fight.
that, isn't it? In the current climate.
Do you know what? I think if you doubled that up with Parker Joyce, I think that's a very, very decent, solid pay-per-view. You know, stick a couple of British title fights on it as well.
Yeah, yeah.
It's good
Give
value for
everybody
money,
and share the love
Good
across the
value for
board.
money.
And instead of the top two on the show having to share the love, or a dual fight, the top four, why don't they just share the love and trickle it down?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Share the 20 quid between them all and get 4 good fights and share it between all 8 people. So we've got 20 quid here pay-per-view. You can all have £2.50 each or whatever, you know, whatever cut. You know, just share it out and put, instead of just one fight, then it's like Tyson Fury, right? He fought at Wembley against White. Tyson and White own the show, don't they? You know, all the financials to it. So they're not going to want to put good fights on undercard because it's coming out of their pocket. This is how Eddie Hearn pulls the master talk. He ain't bothered, Eddie, because he just gets 20% of that anyway. So and all other add-ons, so he ain't bothered. But Tyson and Dillian, they're not going to want to put a great undercard on, are they? Do you know why?
Yeah.
Because they're paid. So we're fed shit. We're fed shit, aren't we? But everybody who went there, only went there for one fight anyway, didn't they?
Of course.
And when it's sold out before undercards announced, why even put a good one on anyway?
Years, didn't they? You know, the high pay-per-views that you don't really like Ruiz and Harrison. How the dog shit.
Did
No,
you see
I
that?
can't even remember a fight off them undercards.
15 quid.
But I remember watching the main events. So, you know, I think that's just where we're at in boxing. But I want to see Yara against Johnson. It's a solid fight. I want to see Boatti proper step it up there. Proper step it up. Let's get him in there with a proper world level fighter. Same as Conor Ben. I want to see him in there with a proper live body now. You know, let's see how good he really is. But you know for well we're not going to get that. You know for well we're not. Because he's had his contingency plans now. You know, when Joshua knacks him, Conor Ben's his next big draw, really.
Yeah.
So that's where they're plotting very, very carefully where they're matching. But yeah, let's just hope that we get something to look forward to. We get some big fights announced over the next few weeks, and we have a decent summer, early autumn schedule lined up before us, because we've had basically nothing this year.
No.
You know, Sky put out, obviously they had Taylor Cattrall, which we all thought Taylor was going to be a walkover job beforehand, but now Cattrall
Castle took it
won
to
the
school,
fight.
didn't it?
Won the fight for
Comfortably.
me. I think I had it 118, 110. I think I had it. For me, it wasn't even close. We've had obviously Fury What, which was a big event. We had Calmbrook, which I didn't even watch live, to be honest. I was the wedding, but I mean, yeah, it's a big-ish fight. But for me, Wood Conlon fight of the year so far.
Yeah, that's
Fight
right
of the
to
year.
hear. So
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I actually had Conlon way up.
far.
Going
And
into that last
Katie
round.
Taylor Serrano second. I know, yeah, it's hard work, isn't it? But you'd have to say that's second best fight of the year, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
I think so. Yeah, Wood Conlon for that part of the year, and two good guys as well. I mean, I know the Conlon brothers aren't everyone's cup of tea, but I've always liked
Come
them.
across all right,
I've
don't
always liked them.
they? Lee Wood comes over okay, doesn't he?
Lee Wood, top guy, and he's old pal of ours. So I'm actually doing here, so.
Is that Smidow's big chum? Smidow, you biased.
But yeah,
Casual.
Lee Wood.
The voice of casual racing.
He's up there with me. He's my top two favourite fighters at the minute. Lee Wood and Dan Aziz. Big up.
Dan Aziz is doing well, isn't he?
Great. You know what? He's proper talker. And he's willing to get in there, fight anyone.
Yeah,
I like him.
I do. I like
I
him. He's
like
not
him.
Marvin Hagler though.
Ah, of course he's not.
But he's good.
He is.
He's good. Okie dokie then. Well, listen, thanks for coming, Dale. Hope you're well. That's about it, folks. I'm going to get this out today, but there's other videos backed up. There's helmets has done. There's a Terry two-parter with Terry. There's Max's sparring session. So painful. Poor Max. I like Max, you know. Every time Max goes out with me to a gym, comes back, he's always got black eyes or busted up. Max, pack it in, mate, please. But we've got Max. There's a Max double header with me, and then there's a Max sparring at Nick Manners' gym with this guy who was like a young Mike Tyson. So plenty of videos. They're all going to be out before Monday. All right, that's about it. How many miles there is it from here?
500, I think.
100.
Yeah, I think so.
Shouldn't take long in that thing, aren't they? Should it?
Alright,
Is it petrol as well?
Diesel. 76 actually. Yeah, it was 125 when I left, so yeah, 76 to go. Now we're 42, so
I thought they're all petrol then.
need to get on the road. Diesel lads.
So I don't know. You're telling me that I'm a diesel man.
Same here.
Can't be a bit of cherry. Right, okie doke. Peace out. Keep on trucking. Keep supporting boxing. Don't have nightmares. Anybody you want to give a shout out to apart from Smidow, voice of hardcore racing?
There we go. You already said for me.
Okie doke.
All them trolls out there.
All them trolls. Keep your questions coming. Don't forget to leave a comment and come from behind your fucking keyboards once in a while. Let's have a look at you.